Hello, the internet. So it's been a minute since I've just sat here and talked to the camera with just a topic, like the classic video blog thing. So I figured I'm about due for one. Something that's been on my mind lately, I've been thinking about a lot is, well, the first thing that anybody ever asks me whenever I tell them that I live in a van and I travel around the country is how? How do you sustain yourself? Where are you getting the money? What kind of job do you work? I kind of do a little bit of everything. Anybody who's been watching the channel for a while knows that I do mostly volunteer work and pick up a little bit of odd jobs here and there. And I scrim by, just barely, you know what I mean? I'm not making a lot of money, but I'm making just enough to get by. In fact, right now, I'm in the parking lot of a gas station in Roy, Utah. I was coming from Salt Lake to Ogden. I only had enough for 1 gallon of gas. And I thought I'd just give it a shot, see how far I got. And I got, I don't know, about 10 miles away from Ogden. And now I'm completely out of gas, but I had just enough momentum to get off the freeway and get here to the gas station without having to push the van, so it's pretty rad. But little things like that, people are like, well, isn't that kind of a big inconvenience to not have cash for, standard things like that, like gas? Yeah, it's a little bit of an inconvenience, but it's worth it. It's worth it for all that I gain, all the bullshit that I don't have to put up with. The way I think about a standard job, like there's this weird paradigm in society I've never really fully understood, which is that you find something that you enjoy and you do that forever. That's your job now. You just do this one thing for the rest of your life. I could never see myself just, I love filmmaking. This is something I enjoy doing, but whenever I do it every single day, it becomes monotonous and I don't enjoy it, which is why you guys don't see video blogs all the time. Anytime it starts feeling like a job, I take a break. I don't believe in the traditional idea of you go out and you find a job. I find so much more fulfillment in doing the kind of stuff like this. Like right over here, you see these guys doing landscaping. There's so much work doing that kind of stuff all the time. They're always hiring. They don't care about experience. They just want people to come and work their ass off, which I love doing. I love doing yard work. I enjoy it. I wouldn't like doing it every single day as my job, but whenever I pick it up every now and then as an odd job, I feel so privileged to be doing it. I enjoy it. It's such fun, fulfilling work to go out there and be in the sun and sweat and cut grass and smell it. And, I enjoy it, but it would suck to do it every single day. And there's a lot of things in society that I kind of think of it as that way. People get into this live to work and work to live cycle where they're literally just working to pay their bills, and they're only paying their bills because they need to so they can continue going to work. It's like, life shouldn't be like that. And aside from just it being a struggle and you never seem to get ahead, what's always bothered me about that whole thing is, you get into a 7-day, okay, there's 7 days in a week, and you got 5 days to work, you got 2 days off, and that's your cycle, that's your week, and that repeats over and over and over until you die. So at what point do you say, well, I've already lived these 7 days. I don't need to keep reliving them like as if something's gonna change. I need a constantly changing horizon in my life. It's important to me because if I stay too much time in one area and where things start to look just familiar too much, I feel boxed in. I feel like I'm not doing anything with my life. Like when I just sit and I look at the same shit for a while, I'm like, how come I'm just sitting here? I think human beings are nomadic fundamentally. I think once you have children, if you do, then there's nesting tendencies, right? To sit down and nest and try to raise your family for a while. But I think by and large, human beings are just naturally nomadic, and I think that's when we feel the most fulfilled. At least I know it's when I do. Now let me segue into another part that I wanted to talk about, and that is, here I am fighting myself on this very concept because I don't want to get stuck in a place and just be there all the time, and I want a job. But as many of you know, I'm a vegan, and I volunteer at an animal sanctuary called Ching Farm Rescue. It's in Harriman, Utah, which is kind of by Salt Lake City. And they do these fundraisers all throughout the year. It seems like they're just constantly doing fundraisers because it's run completely on donations and volunteers. And it's a lot of work to keep that place up. It's a lot of money just for the food of the animals and veterinary care and stuff like that, because a lot of these animals are special needs. But it's important and somebody needs to do it. And I'm always just kind of thinking, well, what could I do to kind of help them out a little bit more and get some more residual income? My ex-girlfriend, who actually kind of pushed me in the direction of going vegan, we were talking about opening a restaurant a while back. We're going to call it Kind Grounds. It's going to be like a restaurant / coffee shop, thus the name Grounds. I was never super on board with the whole coffee thing, honestly. but I would like to do the same concepts, because I got the logo and everything put together, but it's gonna be a little vegan restaurant. And when I first thought about that, I didn't like the idea because it's a restaurant, it's stationary, you're stuck there, it's a job, it's a 9 to 5. I didn't want to do that. Well, when I was out in Portland, I was looking for a good vegan place to eat, and GPS the thing, and I get there, and it's a food cart. I thought it was gonna be a restaurant, but it's just a food cart. And it was actually this like parking lot that was full of other food carts of all kinds of different food, and it was just permanent. Like they just stay there, and it's a little food court of food carts that's just permanently set up in a parking lot. It's kind of neat. And it just hit me. I was like, well, that's it. You know, I'm a nomad, and it's a food cart. I didn't need anything really super big for what I was going to do anyways. It seemed like a good idea. So then I started thinking about funding. How could I fund this thing? And so the idea came to me, since it's already kind of benefiting animals. These two ideas of me wanting to help out the sanctuary a little bit more, and me needing to fund my project with the food cart, I saw a way in my mind that the two could work out really well. And that is that I could approach the people there at the sanctuary and say, okay, look, if you all I want is your stamp of approval. You don't got to do anything. Maybe push it a little bit on your social media, but just let people know that you're behind me. We're partners on this, and what I want to do is set up the food cart as a non-profit, which is typically not something you're going to see from a restaurant. But I want to set up this food cart as a non-profit. I want to give myself a pretty good salary, just so I mean not like a lot, but I'm figuring that the food cart will make around $10,000 a month. I'd like to make $1,000 a month off it, residual forever, even after I don't work there. And I'll still oversee things like all the marketing and the graphics and the videos and ordering inventory and that kind of stuff. Whatever I need to do, I'll still be on board for all that. I just don't want to be in the food cart working. I'll find an employee to do that. And then that's also create another job, which is awesome. So there's income opportunity for somebody else. But the awesome thing about this concept is when you go, okay, it's creating money for me. It's creating money for the farm. It's creating another option for vegan eateries in Salt Lake City. And the beauty of this is to people who are vegans is when you go and you spend your money at this place, you save the animals twice. You save it once by not eating them, and the second by giving that money that you spent by not eating them. That money goes to that animal sanctuary to continue to support other animals that have been rescued. To me, it's an overall win for everybody. I hope they see it that way. I'm going to eventually present this idea to her, to Faith, who's the owner there at the sanctuary. I think she'll be on board with it, but we're looking at about approximately $50,000 to raise. That's a lot of money. That's basically probably their entire year's working budget. But she's not going to have to do anything on it. The main thing I think she might have a problem with is that I feel like in raising funds from her demographic for that $50,000 to do this food cart, that I am in a sense diverting funds from the farm. However, I don't think people are going to see it that way. I think they're still going to give to the farm and also this, and in the end this allows us to give even more to the farm. So I'm hoping people will get behind me on it, and if so, that's going to keep me in this area for a little while, probably at least a few months. It takes a while to set up a business, and then I'll probably need to run the place for a while, get an employee trained, and then hopefully we'll have it all worked out in such a way that I can then hit the road after that, just oversee it a little bit, and then I'll have my residual, $500 to $1,000 a month, whatever I can work out, to keep me on the road, and then I can keep doing volunteer work, and I can keep doing stuff like this. So that's pretty much all I've got for everybody today. Please do, if you like what I say in this video, give it a thumbs up, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share the video, because man, shares do a lot for me. It gets the views up, and we get the views up, that also helps me out. So thanks for watching, everybody. Peace.